Welcome back, everybody, to episode 11, I guess, of Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, The Rewind. Sorry, I forgot to put this up. That's not the right date or time or anything, but that's who we are, so fuck it. We'll also make this a fairly quick episode so you can get back to your holiday celebrations, which, by the way, Lindsey, happy May the 4th.
Oh, thank you. May the 4th be with you.
And also with you. We're just nerds here. We just love things that are great. So screw it. Getting to this episode, I'm so excited. It's Zoey's Extraordinary Double Date, which has so many as soon as I heard the title for this, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how this one goes. Because honestly, I didn't know if it was I figured it was going to be between Zoey and Simon and Max and Rose, but I was like, oh, are they going to spin this?
Right.
And we kind of did a quasi double date with with Mo and Perry and Brad, which Brad. Okay. All right. I'll take Brad. Side story. I once got hit on by a guy named Brad, super drunk in San Diego, not even joking, in his 30s, a grown-ass man who introduced himself as Brad, but everybody calls me B-Rad. I'm like, I'm not fucking calling you that. B-Rad, yeah. No, you're not. But yeah, so we join up, the episode starts right where it ended, with Zoey in her therapist's office, played by Oscar, who is amazing. I actually really love him in this role because we all loved him in The Office, obviously. And so he brings this kind of lightheartedness just with his presence, but he's also a therapist. So I really like that juxtaposition for the casting choice of that. But Zoey comes in to the therapist's office, and literally as soon as I saw her walk into the waiting room, I'm like, that is the last place that she should ever be. She's surrounded by emotionally unstable people,
right,
to begin with, but this is just a concentration of craziness and vulnerability, and it's just, I was so worried for her. And then we get the first song, which was Overwhelmed by Royal and the Serpent. Have you ever heard this song?
Yes.
I hadn't.
You haven't? Oh my gosh.
No, I'm of the age where I stop listening to new music unless somebody is like, you need to listen to this. Also, I don't go in the car anymore. Everything is deliverable, and I don't listen to the radio. I watch movies and study for Schmodown. I don't listen to music. And I heard that, and I was like, why are you calling me out right now?
Right. Yes, exactly. It's everything is oh yeah, you're right. And so actually watching it, and I put the subtitles on, and then I could actually hear see the lyrics, because in the song you're like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it, but I was like, oh, that's what they say. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it gets real deep and real serious, and I'm like, am I projecting? Am I having a heart song right now? Okay. It's every day for me, but I'll take it. So now I'm, gonna have to go and download Royal and the Serpent's entire album, which I encourage you to do. We've got some people. Hello, Precious, sweet baby. Creative Dreamin'. Oh, I like that name. Also, your icon is epic. That is how I feel most days, minus the ears. But it's super cute. So we get, and honestly, I made a note, and I was wondering if this was the first song sung by complete strangers, by a group of complete strangers since Help.
Right.
And knowing what we know about next week's episode, I thought that it was really clever to bookend it that way, because it was the very beginning, and now we're going to it's the last episode before the flashback of before pre-powers. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of a nice little homage to yourselves, I guess.
Right.
Nice little wink and a nudge to your crazy, amazing fans. And I literally put a note. I was like, I should look into this. I didn't. But whatever. And then we get to go back to Spark Point, which I'm really excited of because I love Spark Point. I love the energy there. I love the characters there, the family that's there. And she like, in her talking to her therapist, she's trying to like figure out if she's just talking to him about like all of her powers and like how it's putting she's like not really taking responsibility for her life and her choices because she's having to focus on everybody else. And I'm like, girl, that's an excuse. And I mean, that's why you're in therapy, obviously.
Yep.
Because you need somebody to literally take you by the shoulders and be like, snap out of it.
Yep.
Because we all want to be Cher. And then we go to Spark Point, and she wants to be like the best girlfriend for Simon, which is really sweet. It's a very nice thought, and I get it. And she starts it off very well with bringing donuts. And I will say this, guys, if you know what your girl or your boyfriend or whomever, your significant other's donut of choice and how to order their coffee,
Ooh.
There's literally like that is the like I don't care what your love language is. If somebody brings that to you in the morning when you're not expecting it, it's not a birthday, it's not an anniversary or a holiday. Like, dude, that's major brownie points.
Yes.
And then they announced that that Leaf had been working on his own version
Sneaky.
He's so sneaky. I literally was like, ooh, Leaf is getting sneaky and ambitious again.
Yeah.
Which
like,
we got to see.
So while y'all just do this, I actually have a great idea. So y'all.
I mean, I noticed that he was like very background with like Mackenzie and Tobin like going after each other for like the giant phone and the tiny phone. And he's like, I'm going to make my phone fly. And I was like,
right.
I really want that.
I know. And then it came and just like when I was like, oh my gosh, so it's a dog. I can call my phone and then it comes to me.
You like, can never
know how many times I lose this?
Voice activated, hovering, flying.
Yeah.
Came down and like, and then it like retracted into the phone case. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, I need that. Also, like, we all send up drones for like drone footage anyway. Can you imagine if like you didn't have to like edit your drone footage from your GoPro to your phone footage for like proposals or like weddings? Like, it would be amazing. Yeah. See, Juniper? Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm going to address your other comment when we get to it. When we get to it on the show. And I was really excited that he came up with this and they're having to run with it. And literally, I just got excited seeing Toby and Mackenzie because, as we all know, Tabenzi is.
So cute.
I've been pushing for this for like since her introduction to the fourth floor from the fifth. So excited. We'll get to that one too.
Yeah, we'll jump a little bit.
And then we get Maggie. We get Maggie and Deb, which obviously just gives me pure jealousy running through my veins. Because not only do I want to be Deb when I grow up, I want to hang out with Mary and Bernadette like forever and ever, amen. And she shows her the Peloton and she just starts talking about, she's like, ooh, I don't like bike riding. I want to get one of these. I don't like bike riding, but I love getting yelled at. I'm like,
I know.
You're the best. And then we get to Maximo's and they mention something that literally, like, as a Bay Area girl, I was born and bred and raised and back in the Bay Area. And they mentioned the Beta Breakers. That shit, if you guys don't know, it is, first of all, it's 7 miles. And I just want to make sure that you understand what 7 miles in San Francisco means. 7 miles is 7 fucking miles of hills and steep declines. Like, there's no fucking flat ground in this. It's like 19 miles like flat ground, basically. It is exhausting. But you get drunk and you wear crazy fucking costumes. It's like back in the day for like let's make a deal. Like, I think that show's still on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But like, people plan for this race like they plan for Halloween. Like, we're talking like group costumes that look movie quality that you can run in and breathes. Like, oh my God. Yeah. See, Beta Breakers. Amazing. It's so much fun. I've never actually ran because this doesn't run. But I have cheered on from the side at a bar and held down spaces for them and my friends to get back to afterwards. But I love that they're excited to do it, and like Simon gets so excited and Rose is all pumped up. Yeah, and then we get to go, which I'm like, okay, that's real cute. But like in my head, also like the issue that pops up later, I'm like, they have no idea. Like they've never run a restaurant during beta breakers. This is going to be awful. Like this is a really bad concept right now. So then we go over to Mo's apartment, and Perry's talking to him. Sorry, we finally got Mo's like concrete pronouns, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna keep fucking it up though because they're just such an amazing person. I'm just gonna keep referring to them by both sexes. And to be fair, Mo said they didn't really care. So Mo and Perry are talking about Mo meeting his ex Brad, which that was not what I was expecting in the name.
Yeah,
Brad, like, okay, and then he goes outside. And he sings fucking crazy, amazing shout out to Matchbox 20. What up, 90s callback. It's so great. He does Unwell by Matchbook 20 in such a great arrangement. And like, first of all, David, let's talk. That voice. I'm gonna need an album of you just like
right. Talking. Yes.
Like you don't have to sing. You could literally just cover what's his name? William Shatner's album where he does like spoken word poetry. Like just
yes.
That's all oh my god, that voice.
He's the whole package. I'm like
beautiful. Like inside and out. Love him. Love Perry. Which worries, Zoey sees him singing that song and then she invites him to check out her pilot light and he's like, "You're fine."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I was having an old timey clock." Like, and I'm like, "Girl, I get it. Like,
yeah,
you want to help, but like, I also just the juxtaposition of like Zoey and Perry, like they're two people that like I could see chatting in line for coffee.
Yeah.
And then never speaking again and being totally fine and being totally like civil to each other. But like, yeah, I was just like, I don't understand. But I love that they're like trying to be friends because they both love Mo and it's wonderful. Yeah. And then she gets it out of him that he's worried about Mo meeting his ex because they both have big personalities. And I'm like, oh, someone's got a type.
Yeah. Hands down.
You say big personality and I'm like, it cannot get bigger than Mo.
Right.
Like maybe bigger, but not as like wonderful big. Because like,
oh yeah,
like that whole concept of like bigger is better, and it's like, well, if you order a giant sheet cake, like you're not guaranteed that like the quality is going to be great. Right. Whereas Mo is like a giant floating, like hot air balloon with glitter and ribbons and wonderfulness and happy and safe and belting out Whitney Houston better than Whitney does. Like it's amazing and wonderful. Then we go back to Spark Point, to that meditation room.
Oh that my lord!
Oh my! And then we get
that has a lot more space for some internal meditation. But yes, Tobenzi.
I want to know what that incense is. That they are burning in that meditation room, because that is better than like Spanish fly and oysters and chocolates and back rubs. Girl, anytime any two people walk in there, like sparks are flying. No pun intended. But yeah, dude. Yes, let's make it happen. Tobenzi. I literally messaged Cal or Cap as soon as like that happened, and I was just like all caps like hashtag Tobenzi, and he's like, "Girl, it's happening." I'm like, "Fucking called it!" It's like, I knew it. He just started laughing. Oh god. yeah, so I'm super excited that that finally happened, even though it was kind of like a high tension, high feelings, like everything's going on at the same time. Like it's not like a cold or not cold, but like a calculated, like logical move. It was just like pure adrenaline and like hormones.
But it also makes sense, like
Yeah.
for them both, like that whole situation. It was just like that. It's so them. Oh my gosh, this couldn't be any more perfect.
Yeah, they're young, they're horny. It's fine. I get it. I support it. Give me all of the material with Temenzi. And then we get the Beta Breakers costumes. I'm so excited. Oh wait, did we skip over something? I think we skipped over something. Yeah, sorry, my feed flipped out, and I got the beginning of the conversation between Max and Rose, and she's going back to New York soon, which we all knew.
Yes.
And then she starts talking to Max about the possibility of doing a pop-up in New York. And I was like, well, when season 3 happens, which, by the way, there is a link down below in the description. Click that and go vote to keep Zoey's on the air, because I need another season. I like don't care if you do or not. I'm hoping you do, because it's a wonderful, beautiful show. Send the link to everybody, copy and paste it. Take the quiz like every day, like I do. Fill out like just literally there's a comment section. Just vomit all of your love for them into it. I know I did multiple times. Love the overwhelmed scene in the beginning. Love that we saw Becca. Oh yeah. Wait. Now I'm not pulling my brain together. Keep typing. Expand on that. But so we get Rose talking about how her girlfriend has like this. She wants to like help him move Maximo's to New York, and they really love the concept because like they're in the newspaper and like or the magazines and everything. It's going viral. But yeah. So oh girl, multiple emails. I have like 16 different email addresses. Just use all of them. But and it becomes like a thing, and you can see the look in Max's eye that like this is something that he could very well do, and I think that it would be great. Yeah, it would be phenomenal. I'm so excited for that. Just because it might mean they get to like shoot in New York, or I mean, let's be honest, they'll still shoot in Vancouver, but like it's fine. And I love the argument that they get into later down the right. But then they go to the Beta Breakers. Everyone's dressed up. Simon is dressed as Prince. Girl. And then what were Rose and Max dressed up as?
David Beckham and Posh.
Oh, that's right. And then Zoe keeps getting shit for being dressed up as Static Cling.
No, she's trash. Oh, I mean, sorry.
People just keep
static electricity.
But then they just start going on, and like they just keep riffing on her, and I was like, this is friendship at its finest. Like legit, when we all hung out a month ago. Can you believe it was a month ago? When we were all together a month ago, there was like hardly a word was spoken that wasn't dude. Like ripping on each other, and then obviously followed by like, I love you, I miss you so much. Like it was one dichotomy or the other. There was nothing in between. I think there was one conversation about like getting food, but basically like that was it. It was all ripping on each other, and I love that. And then the most magical thing happened, and I never thought that anything like this would happen. Simon starts singing Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, while dressed as Prince. Like the inner voice in my head that is the gay men, like a conglomeration of all of the gay men that I have met in my life and loved with all of my heart, just like started freaking out. And I was like, girl, I know. Oh my God. It just made me so happy. And everybody is singing and dancing except for Max. And I was like, wow. Funny how Zoey and Max's partners are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm starting to think that Zoey and Max won't end up together in the end. And I'm fine with that because like they are like way too similar. You need to have somebody who is different, who you can bounce ideas off of, who sees things differently so nobody gets stuck in a mental rut. Like I get that and it's wonderful. And it's so great. And then beta break was over. They're at Maximo's, the four of them sitting at a table, having a good time. Brad and Perry and Mo are at another table that Zoey has promised to be a buffer for, even though apparently she took a big spill and like puts ice on her ankle, and then she's like hobbling all over this packed restaurant. I'm like, girl, you are going to break something of someone else's. Like, sit your skinny ass down, let everybody take care of themselves. It's gonna be fine. But then Rose just like has no problem asking like the blatant questions of like, so there was something here, like this is weird, right? And then she starts asking, she goes, is it okay if I ask a question? And Simon's like, sure, we're open books, like thinking that she's gonna dip into like Zoey and Max, and she goes straight for him. And like she's like, so you were engaged to like a totally different person, and like, and then like he's like, yeah, well, you know, when you're at your engagement party and it burns up, it's kind of a sign from God. And she's like, so he's like, or a clumsy redhead. I'm like, it is your fault, babe. Credit where credit's due. Like, you subconsciously did that so you could get your man, and I'm kind of okay with this because he and Jessica were not meant for each other. And they just start like digging into it, and then Zoe's just going like, she's trying so hard to be the best girlfriend ever. Yeah, it's just, wait, did we skip over New York State of Mind? No. So yeah, so they're at the bar, they're all hanging out, and that's when Max starts singing New York State of Mind. And can I just say, Skylar Astin, give me all the Billy Joel covers. Like all of them. Like I have a list of them in priority if you want me to send them to you. But oh my God, that is one of my favorite songs. I have been in a New York State of Mind lately. I miss the East Coast. I miss New York. I miss Broadway. I miss my friends there. Like, I am so excited to get to go back there someday, like very soon, hopefully within the next few months. I know if Max was here, he would be of the same mind. I already have a place to crash with him because he is my brother in arms. And it's just like, it was such a forlorn kind of cover too. And it was just so beautiful. I'm so glad they did that song. Like, it's one of my favorite Billy Joel songs. And then they realized that no one's gotten their food at all because half the city is shut down. Roads are blocked. Accidents have happened. People are drunk. Cops are everywhere. And nobody is able to deliver. Also, the restaurants are mad overbooked. And nobody's getting their food at Maximo's. So it's like the first day that they haven't made money and probably have lost a lot of money for being open. Simon's not getting his food. Like, she, you know, tries to order like his favorite collard greens. And like everything's just slowly starting to crumble on Zoey's plans to like have everything be perfect. Because I mean, we all kind of want that. We all want that feeling of, okay, I'm going to plan this ahead. Everything's going to go right. And I'm like, you can't plan everything to the second. Like nothing. For somebody who's traveled as extensively as I had and toured for so long, like I can tell you this, nothing goes right. Nothing. I mean, and when certain things do, it's amazing because you don't expect it. So you have to lower your expectations. Yeah. Have you ever been on a trip that's gone right?
No. Because even like planned trips with like organizations, nope. It's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to do this. Oh, we're late. Oh well. On to the next thing. I was like,
we missed our flight again. Like, yeah, it's fine. You just have to find those sparkling moments in between. We once got delayed. We once got bumped off a flight. A bunch of us from the tour got bumped off of a flight from Milwaukee to Austin with a layover in Atlanta. So we got bumped off of them for a direct flight like 6 hours later. And I was like, whatever. They give us vouchers for food, whatever. We're hanging out. Yeah. We're like 2 hours before our flight. We're all hanging out at the gateway area. And we got to literally in person witness one of those like soldier coming home videos.
Oh.
Wept like a child. Anyway, sorry, back to Zoey's. So Max was running behind due to the beta breakers. And one of the things that like kind of popped into my head, I really want to go back and like rewatch this for like a third time. It seemed like Simon noticed Zoey zone out and come back during Max's heart song.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Like he does this kind of look to her and I'm like, oh, because like he's already started to like kind of notice that like things aren't quite right with Zoey. Like she zones out, she's super insightful. Yeah, it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, he's like he knows something isn't up. Like it's not just a hunch anymore. It's not like a tingle. It's like, no, I know something's not right. Something's going on. We've got 2 episodes to dig it up. Well, technically 1 because next week is a flashback. So I'm really interested to see what happens with that because he is becoming more and more and more aware of not her powers precisely, but like something not being right. See, that's what I thought, Roger. I thought everyone and time froze, but I don't know. Like we've witnessed when, we've witnessed when somebody has been singing a heart song that like, when Max's ex, the girl played by Stephanie Styles, the barista
girl,
when she was singing, Mo was having a conversation with Zoey during that, or she was having a conversation with Zoey during a heart song, and she's like, "It's happening right now," and she's like, "What?"
Oh, right, yeah.
So we know that like she can engage with people, but like I don't think anybody's ever noticed Zoey during a heart song, or like noticed her attitude or her disconnect from reality of what's going on and not just a heart song. Like I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they play this out. And then we get to see Mo and Brad interacting and they bond over Grey Gardens, which I both love and fear for them because Grey Gardens, if you don't know, it's a weird fucking movie. Show, whatever it is. It's so weird. And I was like, they're bonding over Grey Gardens? Not good. Then we get a nice little cut back to Maggie sitting back at the poker table. And Deb comes in to check on her. And she starts getting really defensive and Maggie starts getting defensive and Deb just is like, hey, I thought you were going to call me the next time you were going to come over here. And she like is legit worried. Like you can tell before hearing her story of why that like, she takes this very seriously. She's like, I didn't bring you into this to like, to start you down this dark path. Like I thought you'd have fun here. And she starts and she leaves and they're kind of like they're in a girl fight, which if you haven't seen New Girl, first of all, watch New Girl, the episode where they have a fight over the purse, their first girl fight. It's very subtle. Every female notices and they're like, oh, shit's about to get bad. So they have their first little like girl tiff. And she leaves and Maggie stays there and she just keeps playing poker. Just kind of leaves that for a while. Then we go back to Spark Point and Leif is just chilling in Zoey's office. feet up, sitting behind the desk,
just relax,
talking to Tobin.
I own this.
And yeah, right. And I'm like, I know you're ambitious, but get out of her office. Also, it raises the question: how does Zoey have this much time off? Also, why are they in the office on a Saturday? Beta Breakers happens on a Saturday. That's just my mind going through this, like logistics. And so they start talking about, they have literally the most open and beautiful, like, guy fight discussion. Not a fight, just like a discussion of like, dude, why didn't you tell me? He's like, oh, well, da da da, and they hash it out, and he's like, all right, I'm just proud of you. Like, it's cool. Like, he's like, oh, by the way, super stoked to see you in this office. I can't wait for it to be yours. Like, they're so sweet. And then Tobin tells him about Mackenzie, and they hold hands and jump around like little schoolgirls.
He's like, you found someone who actually likes you back? What?
They're so cute. They're like, I'm just realizing that this office has windows.
And everybody's looking, and then you just see Mackenzie on the couch like, oh, yeah, okay. It's probably because of me. Okay.
That's right. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, the presentation was in 4 days. So they had till Monday. That's right. Because they told her on Thursday that they were going with, I can't remember what the name was, but the flying phone. And then they had to present it to the owner. I always screw up his name. It's something Michael David. Danny Michael David. It was presented to Danny Michael David on Monday. So yes, thank you for that. Yes, I know he did, but like that was the start of it. And I'm very excited to see how each step brings him closer and closer. Oh my God, yes, that was what it was. Thank you. I was trying to be like, this feels familiar. Because I'm old, I know what that is. Lindsey, Perfect Strangers, we'll explain it later. If you don't know what it is, it's a very old show from like the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. Really
I will educate myself. Okay.
And so they're just, Tobin and Leif, just super supportive BFFs, and it's just so sweet to see that between two men. We've talked about the masculine emotional availability and vulnerability in this show, and it is just give me more. Let me go back to Maximo's, and Mo and Brad realize that Brad doesn't have a problem with Mo like Perry had been fearing. It actually rests with Perry, and that's a heavy thing to deal with. Like that's a big thing for them to address. And I was worried that he was just gonna like break up with Mo on the spot. And I'm like, no, you do not get to sully her restaurant, his place of happiness with this memory. I was so worried that was gonna happen. Oh, Sundays. It's, we're drunk all weekend. It's fine. Yes, they are the cutest bros ever. And it's just one of those sad, weird things of like, it's just projection in its most basic level. Like you think that somebody else is going to have a problem when really it's you, and that's something that you need to deal with and not project that on somebody else. Like therapists speak. And then we go back to Max and Zoey and Simon and Rose's table, and Max and Zoey start fighting over Max going to New York. And Max starts talking about, well, you seem to know what I'm thinking and, and feeling before even I do. Wonder why? And he literally starts getting angry and fighting at that level where you want to hurt someone. And I get that level. But like they've been arguing about stuff for so long, and it was literally the reason why they broke up. And she's starting to feel very like combative with him for trying to leave. And it's just like, I was like, oh girl, please don't tell me you still have feelings for him, which we'll get to later. Which actually, and you can see as they're arguing across the table from each other, Simon is just like watching this and listening so intently. because obviously, like, the knee-jerk reaction is, do you still have feelings for him? Like, is this still a thing? Like, do we need to keep addressing this? Because I think at this point they've been together for what, like 4 months, something like that. Because there was like a big time jump, and they've been together for a while. And then we see Zoey back at the psychologist, and he brings up, she's telling him about, Max leaving and her freaking out and their fight, and she instantly goes on the defense and says, no, I don't have any. And before you say anything, I don't have feelings for Max. And he goes, I wasn't going to say you had feelings for Max. Yeah. He's like, I was going to say this has to deal with loss. And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, shit. Like, it hit so hard because, and he brings it up. He goes, you lost your dad. Mm-hmm. You lost your mentor, Joan. And now your best friend is talking about leaving and going to New York. And that's a lot of loss for you, especially within a very tight personal circle. Like, losing something is never easy. Losing someone is even harder. Mm-hmm. But losing people in that way repeatedly, it feels like you're in a riptide. Yeah. It feels like you go out into the ocean to have a good time. You get swept under, try and break through, you get back to the surface, and as soon as you are able to gasp for air, another wave crashes down on you, knocking you down again. And it is a cycle that is incredibly hard to break out of. And as soon as he said it was loss, I was like, oh, it just like brings up so many things that I've been dealing with over the last 10 years and reactions and stuff like it made a lot of sense. And it made a lot of sense to her too, because she was finally like, because I think that if you get an idea in your head, it kind of starts to self-manifest. Yeah. And like, it can just become a reality just by not thinking about it properly. Okay. Aaron came back. Ariana? Is that how you pronounce it? Tobin played Kitty, who was a new character in Glee when Jake and Marley came to the school after Rachel. Oh, I vaguely remember that. I literally stopped watching Glee, even though my friend was the head music. So, not producer. He was one of the main guys who like wrote the arrangements for Glee. I kind of stopped after that. But I'm glad with talented people getting support and hired right now, because God knows they all need it. And then we come back to the house, and Deb and Maggie sit down, and Deb tells Maggie about her husband. And it was such a beautiful like thing about how her husband was a gambler, and she goes, I don't go to the casino because I'm a gambler and I have a good time. I go there to remember my husband because he was a gambler, and yeah, he like lost our life savings and everything. And she's like, I should hate him, but I miss him and I loved him. So that's why I went, to feel closer to him. And Maggie, I was expecting Maggie to say like, oh, well, she was having fun. She just wanted to be around people who didn't know Mitch, who like hadn't heard all the stories, so she could talk about him again. But no, that's not what Maggie said. No. Maggie took her out to the greenhouse and starts dumping loads of cash on her potting table like she's dealing drugs. Maggie! I just kept winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God. You're like a grandmother in like the 1920s. Like, stop hiding money in your mattress, Maggie. There are these wonderful things called banks or safes. Get a house safe. It's fine. She starts, and I love how each bundle was like a different currency, not like currency, but like a different like number. There was like bundles of hundreds, and then tens, and then 20s, and then fives. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing with a bundle of fives? It's $200. Like, you don't need that shit. I'm like, go take that to the bank, exchange it. And she just starts pouring all of these things out, and it just, oh my gosh. And then we get, Wait, was that the issue? No, we hadn't come to that yet. I skipped a scene. It's fine. But yeah, it was just so sweet and wonderful. And then we get, so she tells her that story, and then it cuts away. We didn't get to the money yet. It's fine. And then we get to, hi.
My cat's here.
And then we get to Zoey going over to Simon's for an apology. And let me tell you, again, maybe it's just because my love language is food. Bringing pork buns and dumplings, like, that's a pretty great start to an apology. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I'm vegan, but like, if you brought me food like that and we're like, this is more than 2 people can eat, I'm like, that sounds like a challenge. Get the soy sauce. But then they start talking about the fight, and she apologizes for, you know, all of the issues that, or all of the, like, everything that happened over the weekend, because she had told him that it was going to be about him, and anything he wanted, she was going to be his girlfriend Jeannie, and everything. It was super cute and like sassy, sexy. And then things just fell apart, and she apologized for it. And then Simon asks if she still has feelings for Max, because again, it's the obvious go-to response.
Yeah.
And what really made me a little bit upset was she didn't bring up what her therapist said. She said that she was in therapy, but she didn't bring up the idea of loss. And I'm shocked by this, because if anyone is going to understand that feeling, it's going to be Simon. Like, Simon's going to be the one to understand, like, okay, I totally get why you're freaking out about your best friend leaving after all of these losses that you've gone through. Like, I've lost my dad, I lost my fiance, I understand. Like, that was the conversation that they should have had. But again, it's drama. I need to create drama. You don't get ratings with smooth sailing and people communicating properly. But that's just me screaming at the screen. And then he starts singing Suspicious Minds by Elvis. And let me tell you, Simon can sing all of the Elvis he wants.
Yes. Please do.
All of the Elvis. Actually, Suspicious Minds is one of those songs that for some reason always plays in the casinos whenever I go to Vegas. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'm not suspicious. Like, stop it. It's fine. I'm not doing anything shady yet. Never do anything shady in a casino. There are cameras everywhere. Just an FYI. You do that outside the casino. Yeah, and I really, really want to hear the full-length version of that, because I didn't really like the way that it was arranged and chopped up. Maybe because I love the song so much, and I just want to hear him sing it, because he has a beautiful voice. And then Zoey stops him in the middle of a heart song, and I think that's the first time that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of firsts with Zoey's heart song ability and Simon, and like the noticing and the stopping. Like, it's getting it's getting to the point where I'm very curious how the writers are going to address this.
Right. Yeah.
Because she literally she like interrupts his train of thought, heart song, and it's like, Simon, like, ugh. And then like, wow. Yeah, I think my note was, if Simon and Zoey can talk and really listen to each other without flying off the handle verbally, emotionally, or mentally, they may have a chance when he finds out. Because at this point, they are both so reactionary and so like volatilely reactionary that it's just, it makes me nervous. Like as a human being, I'm like, these characters should not be this reactionary together.
Right.
Like, it's just gonna lead to so much trouble. Yeah, dude, I'm very, very happy with the playlist of songs that John Clarence Stewart has gotten this season. I think that would be really great if they did. Yes, I want, like I said, Precious, I want full versions of all of these songs as well. I think they record them. And I think that it would do really well if they release like an anthology at the end of this season of like,
I think
everyone's songs, but like, me being the organizational idiot and psycho that I am, I'm like, I want all of the songs, but I want to be able to be like, this is Max's playlist. This is Mo's playlist. This is Zoey's playlist. Like, wow, no pun intended. Actually, Zoey's only had like 3 songs, hasn't she? She had Santa Baby, or she had that Santa song that she sang but that wasn't really a heart song. That was the day that she was all screwed up.
Right.
Singing out loud. Yeah. Oh, Skylar? Yeah, me too. 100%. Oh, Austin, yes. Yeah, we're we're in talks. But yeah, I think she's only had like a few songs. But yeah, so they, they discuss whether or not she still has feelings for Max, and she says no, and I don't think he believes her, obviously.
Yeah.
He's literally just sang a song about being suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zoey goes over to her house and sees like the stacks of money on top of the potting table. And I love how she's like, oh, what are you growing in here? And I'm like, it's actually a very viable question. It's California. It's legal. And then we get Bernadette Peters singing Rich Girl. And Maggie joins in. And I'm like, can I just get drunk with these ladies, please? Like, they'll just sit around and like sip sangria, and like I'll just listen to them sing and like hear stories about their lives. Like, can we just do that? That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a note. Zoey wonders what Maggie's growing, but with Deb there, I'd wonder who or what they robbed. Because I'm not saying that Deb is shady. I'm just saying she's not necessarily above board. Yeah. And then the level comes down again, and we get Mo and Perry back at Mo's apartment, where I was afraid that Perry was going to break up with Mo, and then they had that discussion about how, oh God, this whole conversation is just so beautifully written and acted, about Perry talking about how hard it was for him to come out to his family and have them see him as a gay man, because he's still kind of presented in their eyes as straight. He just happen to have a guy on his arm. Mm-hmm. He's got the low voice. He's still like super masculine in their eyes, which masculine, straight guy, I guess, which is awful. Like, for somebody to tell you who they are and for you to not see them the way that they tell you that they are, and still picturing, like, it's just, it's something that people need to work on, and it breaks my heart. Like, as soon as somebody tells me that they are something, I believe them, because they're telling me a truth. And it takes a lot for somebody to A, acknowledge their own truth, B, acknowledge it, like, and live it for themselves, and then see to tell people. Like,
right,
it's so hard. And so he starts saying that he feels like he's backsliding because Mo is a female presenting gay man, and he feels like he's not being true to himself, and it's just like this feeling. And I totally understand where he's coming from in it, like, obviously from an outside sense, but like, but Mo standing up for himself and being like, I've lived a hard life. I am who I am because I've swam through the rivers of sorrow and hardship and like everything. Like, Mo's life has been so tough. And it was just this, like, one of the most beautifully acted scenes of this season, I think. And it really was handled so delicately and so beautifully, and so honestly, that I don't think that it's one of those, like, of course they do, because they've done this so much that like, it's not like Marvel. Like, I'm like, I just trust you with anything emotional, anything serious that these writers have to address. Like, I know that they're going to handle it well. And then, they break up, and that breaks my heart because they were both so happy. I hope that Perry comes back, because oh my God, is David so talented, and so wonderful. Also, we get to meet the kids, and I was so wanting a duet between his son and Mo.
Oh, that would have been,
dude, that kid's got swagger. I'm not even gonna like insult him by shortening his swag. That kid's got swagger.
Oh man,
so talented. And then Zoey talks to Max and has that whole like closure moment with him about I'm actually really upset that they didn't have Zoey address with the people who her freak out affected the fact that she's dealing with loss. Like that she didn't bring it up and like try to explain herself a little bit. And then they both agree that they just kind of need space. And I completely agree. Like when you break up with someone, you really shouldn't be around them all the time.
Right.
Whereas she broke up with Max. She and Max broke up. And then Max was constantly across the hall at Moe's planning Maximo's. And they were all hanging out together. And it's really hard to like get past something that you're still constantly around. Like it's possible you can do it. Like there are some people who can. But like obviously these two, they can't. And they definitely need the space. And then I was wondering, because then Max goes to leave to go into the kitchen and he starts singing like a reprise of New York State of Mind. And I'm wondering if that was a heart song or if because Max knew that was his heart song that he sang, because she brings it up and she's like, you seem to be in a New York state of mind. So I'm wondering if,
oh, that's a great.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's actually like a reprised heart song, which has never happened.
Right.
Or if he's just singing that out loud, like as kind of like a conversation ender.
Right.
I was very, very confused. Again, really excited to see how they handle that one. So that was the end of the episode. We now know that Max is very much planning on going to New York and living with Rose while he's there. Which, yeah, I mean, Zoey brought it up. She's like, so are you going to sublease? Are you getting rid of your apartment? Like, what are you doing with your car? And she was like barraging with all these questions. He's like, she's like, you can't pay rent in two of the most expensive cities in the country. And I'm like, no, I totally did that. Oh, that's right. He did. Max is the only one to have a reprise. I forgot about that. Huh. Interesting. So Max keeps coming back with his heart songs. But again, that depends on if the reprise was a heart song or if it was just him singing out loud to himself because he knew that she knew his heart song. And then we get the glimpse for next week. And it looks like it's one of those like how they all met episodes. And I'm so excited. But that also means this is pre-Powers.
Right.
So I feel like this is going to be one of those amazing moments that the writers get to show us just how tricky and talented they are by incorporating the music playing in the background instead of the heart songs, I feel.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's going to be people singing along to the radio or like a band playing in the background. Or
yeah, that's a good point.
Like when Zoe was trying to tell Mo about her powers and like she kept hearing help and it was like, you know, the marching band or whatever in the park.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, this is why I have you guys here. Yeah. Simon did have a reprise from Mad World. Although was that a reprise or was it just a callback? Because I don't think, did it happen in the same episode? It's been a while since I've watched those season 1 episodes. I mean, I'm going to binge it before the end of the season because I'm emotionally sadistic like that. But we also know that in this flashback, Mitch is alive and Peter Gallagher is coming back with his amazing eyebrows. And we get to see, and this is like pre-Mitch being sick. So we get Zoey's memory of Mitch. And that shit is going to destroy me. Just a heads up for next week. I will be crying consistently. But I'm very, very excited to see what they do with the heart songs.
Yeah.
What else are you looking forward to next week and seeing everybody meeting?
I don't know. It's kind of like a toss-up. I don't really know what we're gonna get. So this is like I'm so intrigued because it's gonna be totally different. And so it's gonna be so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I could say, well, I don't know.
I mean,
'Cause
I'm excited.
anything could happen.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Zoey and Max meet for the first time because we do get like the glimpse of them like meeting at their orientation for Spark Point, which we
Right.
already know is where they met, and they were like
Yeah.
best friends from then.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see like the basis of their relationship because we've seen the basis of Zoey and Simon's relationship and like where that started. So it's going to be really like we've seen, you know, Max and Zoe's relationship like halfway through. And oh my God, did I miss that? Leif has a man bun. So excited.
No
So
way.
excited.
Oh gosh, this is going to be so good.
I mean, I am very excited to see Leif and Tobin like before they become, you know, Leif and Tobin for Spark Point. We did get a quick little snippet of Zoey in it looked like a Lyft or an Uber with Mo driving. And so I think that's like how they met.
Yeah.
And how probably Zoey finds out about the apartment right across the hall from him. I'm really excited to see how that starts because I literally thinking back about like how Mo and Zoey were before her powers, before they became friends. Like it was very like annoyed repairman, frantic tenant. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see that part. We also get to see Maggie like truly happy with Mitch.
Yeah.
We get to see an unfettered. Hi, Brucey. You can see an undepressed Alice, like pre-baby Alice.
Yeah.
And that'll be really exciting. I mean, depending on how far back they go. Bruce, guys, if you haven't met Bruce, this is Bruce. This is Lindsey's second child. Her first one is her husband, who is probably upstairs. I love them both dearly. Bruce.
Okay.
Someone wants to go outside.
I think he does.
We're wrapping up, Bruce. We're wrapping up. I promise. We need like 3 more minutes. He's such a demanding diva. I mean, when you're that cute, though, I mean, you can kind of get away with it. It's fine. But yeah, so I'm really excited for what's to come. And then after that, there's only one more episode left before the end of the season. And that just makes my heart stop because if that's our last one, I'm going to be really, really sad because I feel like it's literally going to be just like a massive cliffhanger. And if I'm just, Austin, if you're watching, just know that if you don't get a season 3, I will be emailing you so that you can tell me how season 3 was going to go. And then I will cry.
Or we can like everybody get together and do like a YouTube thing. Like, come on.
Storytelling time.
We can make it work.
We can zoom that. We'll just mute everyone and you can tell us how it's going to go. It'll be fine. Like, but I do have faith that season 3 will come. Guys, send that link again. Yeah, it's going to be such an interesting episode. It's going to be a really great episode. I'm very excited for next week. Like I said, I'm super pumped on the creativity of the writers. Like they're just so freaking good. But yeah, Lindsey, did you want to do a heart song for this week?
Sure.
You look so happy. So because this episode wasn't it didn't really have an ongoing theme that we could really like pin down. We just kind of wanted to check in emotionally with each other and talk about what our heart songs are for right now. Yeah. Oh yes. Sorry, Juniper. Yes. Simon's favorite beverage, and this was super
yes,
sweet.
Thank you. We almost forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a nice shout out to season 1 for Simon's drinking his Moscow Mule. and she remembers. And I mean, it's one of those things that like I think that they would have been out to bars because they're in the land of Zoey. There is no quarantine. There is no COVID.
Yeah.
So that I'm sure that they've been out to bars many, many, many times. But like, yeah, I really liked the fact that that they did a callback to the Moscow Mule. Thank you for keeping me on that. But yeah, so yes, season 3, guys. I would love for Hulu to pick it up, or anyone to pick it up, as long as they don't destroy it like they did with One Day at a Time. That was one of my favorite shows ever. And then it got picked up by Pop, and then canceled again. So as long as we can get the culmination of this story, that's all I want. I don't care how many seasons it takes. I'm in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
So Lindsey, how you doing? What's your heart song for today?
Okay, so I've been like super swamped with work, fitness training, and all sorts of stuff. So,
and aggressive dogs.
Yes, I've just been super busy. So maybe I'm gonna go with Chandelier. I need to kind of swing a little bit and just let go and have fun. And just not think about anything. I just need a day to not think about anything, sit back and just relax.
I like that. I like that idea. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely need one of those sit by the pool, like drink till we're stupid, hang out, order food kind of days. 100%. So I have a trip coming up to go to Austin to go see some friends. And if anybody knows me even remotely, I love Kevin Smith like no other man on this planet for the most part. And he is doing a movies pop-up in Austin. So my friends and I are going to the opening day. We're going to try and meet him and hang out. We have mutual friends, so we're going to, fingers crossed. So it's one of those things that I'm very excited about. And as somebody who used to travel for a living, being in one place for too long, like it starts to like make my head and body twitch. So my heart song for this week right now, because I leave on Monday, or I leave Sunday morning, is I Got to Get Out of This Place by the Animals.
Good one.
I'm starting to go a little stir crazy. I'm going to be in the office for a week. I'm so excited. So I'm very, very happy with that. Oh, guys, Juniper. Yes. Okay. First of all, Chuck.
Oh,
love me some Zach. Oh my God. If they could get Zach on this show, I will. I do not care about borders. I will cross the border illegally into Canada and just like force myself as a PA onto the show. Timeless was really good too. I really, really love Timeless. Dude, Once Upon a Time was so much fun. They filmed Once Upon a Time in my friend's home, or in my friend's town where she lives. It's like 20 minutes south of Vancouver. So like we would literally we would take a walk from her apartment like 3 blocks away into like this little downtown area, and we would like go to the bar and like hang out, and they, like anything that shoots in Vancouver also shoots here. I can't remember the name of the town. But we've gone down there so many times, and people are like dressed up in costumes, and like people would dress up in cosplay to go watch them film. And so we would like drink on the patio area, and we would play extra or fan with the people walking by in costumes. It was so much fun. We had a blast. We met the whole cast. Like they were just like the sweetest people ever. But yeah, dude, I love Once Upon a Time. I love twisting fairy tales and stuff like that. But anyway, yes, for next week, we are staying. We're doing it on Tuesday again, because like I said, I'm going to be in Austin. So we're going to same time, 1 p.m. Pacific, Tuesday afternoon of next week. And then the following week, we will be having our show on Monday. It'll be May 17th. We're going to start at 12:30, a little bit earlier, so that we can do that. We're going to try and get some of the actors on, because they've been so generous to us before. We're hoping we can just like have them on for a season finale and just like vomit love all over them, because I need to come up with a new phrase, because it just sounds so disgusting and affectionate. It's just gross. But I do. I just want to shower them with love, I guess.
There we go.
But yeah, so we'll see. So come back again next week, Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And then the following on the 17th, it's going to be a Monday at 12:30 Pacific. hopefully it will be a little bit longer and we'll get to hang out with the cast, some of the cast members or creative staff. But until then, guys, have a great week. Wear your masks, get your shots, take care of each other, and hopefully one day we can all be dancing extras in this show.
Yes.
Because COVID will lift.